All right, so I don't do videos often, mostly because I don't like myself on camera. But I had a busy morning, had a really awesome conference call. Just met with a very good doctor, and next week I'll be getting the decision I might have made the biggest sale in my entire life when it comes to money. But they're also really great at what they do, and I'm really hoping they come on board to bring them to my community. But taking a break right now. Came home, changed clothes, taking a 30-minute lunch. I got the oven on. I'm gonna heat some food up. I had to learn to take breaks, but if you think I'm being lazy, I'm not, because I'm working till 8:15 tonight, and that's okay with me because I get to work for myself instead of somebody else. And you can hear the squirrel noises from this little one. This is kind of the analogy that came to my head. Is I came home, changed clothes, and here I am with Grayson. She's making her noises. She likes to purr and make her, I call squirrel noises. But this little one, she was abandoned in Eastern Kentucky, and we found her and we took her in, and she was obviously abused. And if you touched her, she would yelp, and she was afraid of pillows and remote controls and tinfoil and paper towels. Weird stuff, you know. But here she is, totally cool and chill. If we touched her, she would yelp. If we touched her ear, she would yelp. But look at it, she's okay. She's, but here's the thing about her, and this is something that I've seen a lot on the internet in certain communities, and people want to talk about grace. They want it to be like, oh, everything's love, and it just comes down to this hippie rhetoric of anything goes. It actually comes down to anarchy. Like, we need to love people through anarchy, and we need to love people through just absolute nonsense and bad behavior, and we can't correct that bad behavior, and that's crazy. Because here we have this one, but there's rules in the house, and look at her. She doesn't look worried. She looks very peaceful, very satisfied. But we still have rules. Like with her, it's don't eat poo, because that's a thing. Um, I think that's the only rule we have with her, because she's a really great dog. Well, that, and they'll come in the kitchen when I'm cooking, and she still tries. She peeks around, and she's funny because I'll see her every time, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she'll start wagging her tail. But there's rules, and there's structure, and even in the animal kingdom, there's rules and there's structure, and there's hierarchies. And if you don't have those hierarchies, if there's no alpha, there's no leader, it all falls apart. And then I've seen this before, even with dogs. If the owner isn't the dominant one in the relationship, and I don't mean dominant like abusive or anything. I mean, the strong one, the one that supports them, that takes care of them, that has leadership, that sets the ground rules, they actually go nuts. They lose their mind because they don't want to be the dominant one. Um, I guess that's called toxic masculinity at this point. Wanting to take the lead if you have a penis. Uh, she's making more noises, but I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about this whole grace rhetoric. I don't think it's all bad. I don't. I think at the core, it's good, but there's also a balance. And if you just focus on the grace and not focus on obedience and actually the follow through of action, you have a seesaw that just teeters completely on one side and it's unbalanced. And one person's on the ground, whereas one person's stuck in the air. And I don't believe it's healthy. I don't believe it's healthy. And so this is kind of what I thought about, for a while. But here we have this little one. This is Grayson. I call her my Scooby. And what grace can do is it can help heal and let people know that they're loved. And she obviously knows she's loved, because she used to not be. But at the same time, we have our boundaries. There's times where, like don't eat poo. Eating poo is bad, but she tries to do it because when she was in the woods trying to survive, she used to have to do it. But she doesn't have to do it anymore because we have food for her, we have water for her, actual nutrition. In fact, it was maybe a year after we first got her and found her and brought her home. You know, she was covered in mud, and we cleaned her up, and she caught a frog. I don't know if she caught the frog or she found a dead frog in her backyard, and it was in her mouth, and the legs were just hanging out. I was like, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to do that anymore. And she never caught anything since. But again, don't eat poo, right? I think we can all agree that eating poo is bad. And I don't understand why in the church community, or not the church community, the grace community, if you tell somebody eating poo is bad, that's a bad thing, and you're being judgmental, or you're being legalistic, or you're being a jerk. I don't know. Because to me, if you were trying to say, well, if you want to eat poo, that's okay, you're not being very loving and you're not being very gracious. Peace out.